Hey guys, welcome back to the Cosmic Panel, where today we're going to be discussing indie comic books and some of the ones that you can get into. They're self-contained stories that have no prior need for knowledge. If you are into Marvel or DC, this is where you can go to get some phenomenal comic book storytelling. And yeah, but before we get into that, Eliza has a word from our sponsors.
Today's sponsor is Comic Universe. Located in Folsom, PA, outside of Philly, this is a great comic book shop for new and old comic book readers. They got a great selection of back issues, dollar books, trade paperbacks, hardcovers, Pokemon cards, toys, and so much more. If you're into new comic books, they have a subscription service that you guys can sign up for and receive new comic books every Wednesday, and just go to pick up your books once a month. Thanks to Mike and Mike for passing us his sponsorship. Be sure to say that the Cosmic Panel sent you if you guys stop in. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on Instagram at the Cosmic Panel for comic sales over there. And follow us on eBay at the.cosmic.panel. All right, let's get on with the video.
Yeah. So Elias, what is it what you would recommend first for an indie comic book reader?
All right, so my first pick is Ultra Mega. This is issue 3 because I couldn't find one fast enough. But issue 3 of Ultra Mega, every cover is just this good. This is an amazing indie book. One of the Skybound books. Something that you'll see at Image Skybound a lot is a team that is one person. The writer and the artist, which is really cool. In this case, we have James Herron. And it is inked and colored by Dave Stewart, who did a lot of work for Hellboy with Mike Mignola. If you're familiar with that, Hellboy is one of the bigger indie titles, I would say. But Ultra Mega, to me, is easy to get into if you're into anything kaiju, Godzilla, Kamen Rider, anything like that, Ultraman, obviously, Ultra Mega, Ultraman. So yeah, this is really approachable for fans of that kind of genre, that kind of story. And yeah, this is just an expansive universe that has a lot of lore to unravel. And I really have been enjoying it. Great character and creature designs, fun action, and an apocalyptic feel, an apocalyptic story. So this is actually ongoing, just returned recently. So if you guys are looking for a new indie book to keep up with, this is a great one. Ultra Mega will be my first recommendation.
Yeah, no, this Ultra Mega is such a great starter book, especially for people that are fans of those type of series, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, kaiju related fans. It's really a love letter to the entire subgenre, and yeah, the art is crazy too, really kinetic, and pretty expansive lore, surprisingly expansive lore, but very subversive at the same time. So quite fun, definitely a good pick.
Yeah. Lucas, what's your first pick?
My first pick has to go to It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth. Lonely at the Center of the Earth is a very self-contained story. It's about an artist who is going to go to a con. And that's it. That's basically it. And surprise, surprise, it's actually a real story. The artist and writer is Zoe Thorogood, and she basically just gets to flex her artistic skills and her writing chops the entire time. While the plot seems very thin and super boring from a summary level, she makes it engaging and riveting by injecting it full of life, dealing with her own mental health, dealing with different situations that arise, and it's really unique in a way where anyone who experienced during COVID would really relate. I think this book works for everyone. Whether you're looking for just comedy and gaffes and a more deep, thorough message with mental health and the destruction of writer's block and artist block, this is the book for you. Honestly, it's phenomenal, and the fact that Zoe did this at such a young age is insane. to be honest. And I can't recommend this book more.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very heavy book at the core. So I would say, yeah, it deals with a lot of heavy themes.
The core
And
of the earth. Sorry.
yes, at its center. Um, but yeah, this is great for a lot of reasons. It's still pretty accessible to purchase, if I'm not mistaken, in physical format. It's a trade paperback, so it's one book, so it's self-contained. You can just pick it up, take your time with it. I did. I took my time with it. There's a lot of art to digest, and you can kind of break it into chapters in your head if you want. But yeah, this is what I think of when I think of an indie comic, is something that's, one creator has complete creative control over, and it's very personal, so yeah, this is beautiful, beautiful book.
I can't wait for more of her work.
Yeah.
Elias, what would you recommend next?
My second indie pick is going to be Knights. Now, we've talked about this book many, many times.
We even have an interview with the writer.
We do. We have an interview with the writer, Wyatt Kennedy, and the artist on this book is Luigi Formisano. Man, this is a great entry-level indie book for a lot of reasons. I think some reasons include homages and references to iconic pop culture moments. Specifically, I would say for our demographic, for my demographic,
Yeah.
for Lucas and I's demographic, our age group. Fantastic art. Engaging human characters, emotional moments, relatable moments. Those are just some of the reasons. But yeah, this is Knights number 1, that right here in my hand. This is an ongoing book as well. And it feels like a TV show, which is also a really cool feature. They have each episode, if you will, has its own soundtrack. Each episode has its own title. Each episode has its own, title page. There's a lot of cool references to TV shows, and it just feels very, syndicated in that way, which is great. And it's very visual. It's a very visual book. And obviously there's an audio aspect as well. This is just, man, what a blast. Lots of different characters. If you're fans of, I would say, supernatural stuff, this is going to be right up your alley. If you're fans of horror, suspense, sci-fi, that kind of thing,
Comedy.
This is definitely going to be right up your alley. And yes, there's amazing comedy, amazing chemistry between all the characters. Once you pick up the first issue, honestly, I think you'll be invested in these characters and what their story is. So yeah, Knights, another Image book. Can't recommend it enough.
But yeah, Knights is phenomenal. Easily the best consistent ongoing for an indie series, I think. And yeah, season 1 just ended. I'm so excited to see. I still haven't read the finale yet, so but I'm excited to see where we go from here, because from what we understand, Wyatt stated that they plan on doing 3 seasons, which is really, really cool and a great way to format your book.
Yeah. Lucas, what's your next pick?
My next pick is Ice Cream Man. This sounds like a very fun, playful, great book for you to read to your children. Don't do it. Don't do it. This book is horrifying. This book is evil. This book is fucking depressing. God damn. Done with the team of W. Maxwell Prince and Martin Morazzo, this series has been amazing. It's crazy that a book has gotten to around 40 issues with literally just the same exact artist and writer, and there hasn't been a single backup issue. That is genuinely insane. But even outside of that, even outside of those things, this book is a phenomenal horror anthology. One issue you might be dealing with a genuine existential supernatural creature coming in to feed on someone's corpse. And then the next issue, you'll be dealing with a veteran with PTSD who is drawing his awful war memories through a comic. It's varied. It's full of life. There's so many creative ideas. There's so many cool thoughts, and if you really want just like gunshot, shotgun pellet spray of wild indie stories, this is it for you. A lot of the horror in this book is existential, and it really brings a sense of terror that I don't think many horror anthologies do. There's so many themes. Each issue can stand alone as its own story. You can literally just pick up a random issue and go with it. And the fact that the only through line is the Ice Cream Man himself makes it so rewarding when you follow his journey through the books. But yeah, this is a phenomenal horror series. And if you're looking for like a new Twilight Zone or something along those lines, this is it.
This definitely shows love to stuff like the Twilight Zone for sure. Obviously, creepy and, all those like classic horror like TV shows, that were just anthology series. Um, just a well of creativity, and seemingly, has no limits,
There's a whole bestiary issue.
Yeah.
Insane. But yeah. Anyway, Elias, what's next up for you?
My next book is Chroma. Right here, I have Chroma number 1. This is another Image/Skybound book. Skybound is basically an imprint under Image, I should have said earlier. But this is a one-person team, once again, with no other people on the cover credited. So we have Lorenzo De Felici. On art and on story on this book, this is a 4-issue miniseries. As you can see, these are a bit thicker than your average comic book. These are square-bound books. They're a little more pricey as a result, but I'm sure you can find them if you hunt in your back issue bins. This is a great 4-issue run, open and shut. There's more that could take place in this universe if they wanted to, but I would describe this as a dark fantasy. The art is beautiful, and the subtext is, what's the word? Pertinent. I really enjoyed this. Lukas recommended this book to me. This is a couple years old already, which is crazy. But yeah, if you're looking for, I would say, a different kind of fantasy story, this is a good message for a lot of age groups. Definitely geared a little more towards, I would say, probably you're safe with like young adult to
Yeah,
adult on this.
the coloring is so amazing. Like there's purposeful grays and purposeful muted colors that, as you read the story, make sense. And a lot of subversion with certain characters.
Yeah,
Truly.
definitely. So, Chroma 1 through 4. Lukas, what's next up for you?
Next up for me is Do a Power Bomb. Yet again, another one man group. Daniel Warren Johnson, one of my favorite artists slash writers. Um, Do a Power Bomb is what I think of when I think of a bombastic comic. It is in your face. It has style. It has substance, and it makes sure that you are having a fun time. Basically, it's a very simple story. People are fighting to bring back their loved ones, and the main character lost her mom and is fighting to bring her back with the help of her killer. And it's a phenomenal story that takes a lot of twists and turns, but you'll be left at the edge of your seat with like how these characters fight, how kinetic the art is, with how funny the humor is at times. And yeah, the series is great. I highly recommend it if you are just looking for turn off your brain fun, but I also recommend it if you're looking for a deeper story that is a great father daughter journey.
Yeah. when I think of indie powerhouses, I think of Daniel Warren Johnson. He can do it all. He can draw amazing splash pages. He can draw action. He can draw emotion, but he can also tell that story, and he has the intent behind it. Daniel, for me, also always feels very personal. It feels like he's really just speaking from the heart when he does these things. So yeah, what an amazing book. If you're a fan of obviously wrestling, this is going to be great for you.
Yeah. Anyway, Elias, what's next up for you?
My next pick, while we're on the topic of Daniel Warren Johnson,
Is Daniel Warren Johnson.
is Murder Falcon. I don't have this in single issue, but I have this in trade format, which is really cool because it's got a bunch of bonus stuff at the end. But yeah, Murder Falcon is not dissimilar to Do a Powerbomb in the emotion behind it. But this is, for me, the quintessential Daniel Warren Johnson book because it deals with music. Now, music is the only thing that trumps my love of comic books, but comic books is a close second. So this is amazing for me. Murder Falcon is, man, a love letter to metal, a love letter to concept albums, a love letter to kaiju. So many great things. There's such emotion behind our human character, but also so much fun and action behind our
Murder Falcon.
Murder Falcon. Yeah, man, this is such a great book. What else do I say about it? I mean,
Well, there's one question. Does the Falcon murder?
You might say so.
Got it.
There's your 2-page spread right there. Yeah, I mean, this is just such a blast, but it has so many human elements as well as fantastical elements. And the substance behind each of those two elements, they rival each other. So Murder Falcon, I can't recommend it enough. And he also made I think it's on Bandcamp. Yeah, it's on Bandcamp. There's a couple musical excerpts and full songs and I think albums that he made under this name. So you can find those and listen along as well. Yeah, here it is. Bruticus, right? Bruticus is the name of the in-story band. Shredded to Death. Bruticus.bandcamp.com. So this has a music element as well. So this is my ideal indie book right here. So much enjoyment and so much replay value out of this book for me.
Yeah. Daniel Warren Johnson, yet again, just slam dunk after slam dunk.
And Lukas, I believe you are next.
Yes. The title says it all. You're about to read a saga. And boy, is it a saga that is world expanding and quite broad in thoughts. Playing out as a space opera between two star-crossed lovers and expanding out into this whole universe and about this birth of this quote-unquote illicit child. Saga manages to expand on every idea that pop culture has brought into the recent zeitgeist with franchises like Star Wars and fantasy like Dark Crystal. There's so many ideas melded together, stirred together into this universe. There's magic, there's tech, there's love, there's loss, and it all results in a story that feels real. You fall in love with the characters, you laugh with the characters, you cry with the characters, and it's a story that is still not finished, but is well and truly worth the ride.
I think Saga is part of the conversation as just greatest indie books of all time at this point. It's been running for a very long time. They, will take breaks, but it's still a universe that's expanding. And you'll hear this a lot. People will often pick up the trade paperbacks of this book because it's easier to find, but it's worth having in physical form. So yeah, this is a classic indie book for sure.
Yeah, I hope one day we get an adaptation, either by animation or live action. Because boy, would Disney would get fucked with if they just took over Star Wars, basically.
Yeah, I feel like they were talking about an adaptation a while ago. I don't know what the status is of that.
The story's not done, so I get why they're probably waiting for the story to be finished before. And I appreciate that the creatives are adamant about the story will be done when the story's done. They're not rushing the story or pumping out issues that are not necessary. It feels nice. While obviously I would love to read the entire story at once, I'm glad that they have that creative freedom, which is the main thing about indie comics in the first place. Is the creatives get to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope with indie books, and the reason that a lot of creatives will leave Marvel or DC is because of the lack of creative freedom that they have. So a company like Image, you just see creatives popping up with new books all the time, and
Whole
really just
universes.
letting it rip and just unleashing their pure creative wills upon comic books. So it's really awesome to see.
Yeah, I think right now, as we speak, they have 5 universes going on an Image right now, and it's so funny because it's like no other Marvel could never. I feel like manage 5 different universes. They would cross them over, and it would implode, and then it would get way too messy and way too chaotic. Um, but instead, the story is the story. It's
And
in
they
their
have a
universe. It
comic about
stays.
that too,
They
called
do.
Crossover.
They do. They do. And they poke fun about crossovers, which is
Hmm.
really fun.
Yep.
And our favorite character, Combo Man, is actually an Easter egg in that. Anyway, Elias, what is your top indie book?
Well, let me tell you about Rare Flavors. This right here is the most unique comic book I have ever read. And I read a lot of comic books. I've talked about this on the channel
Really?
before, but if you don't know, this is by Ram V and Felipe Andrade. Just two top of their class creatives. This is a very interesting mix of the love for the culinary arts, for the love of the visual arts, i.e., film, and the love of the thrill, I would say. This is equal parts thriller, just as it is its other elements. This is a 6-issue series that has since ended from Boom Studios. When Boom hits it out of the park, man, should you read it. This is a really interesting story that has a recipe per issue that you can actually follow. If you want to actually cook the recipe, you can. Like, the ingredients are measured out. It's very detailed. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, every time, it has to do with actual story. There's a history behind these recipes that they get into. And it's just a serious dive into Indian culture. I learned about so many dishes that sounded amazing. They just made them sound amazing on the page, and they made them look good, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
I never wanted
Um,
to eat just pure peppers before in my life than seeing that pepper field.
yeah, right. Um, but yeah, this achieves a lot of things that I didn't think comic books could. But yeah, Ram V, again, you can tell that he poured his soul into this book. I can't recommend this title enough. I'm sure you can get it in trade paperback at this point. There's also a director's cut sort of issue that has some bonus material. But yeah, Rare Flavors, Boom Studios, Ron V. Felipe Andrade. I love this book. It's got amazing replay value. Basically, it follows this man right here and a filmmaker. And this man wants to make a film about his life and about his love of food and the culinary arts. And it unfolds rather quickly from there into a much more
Horrific.
crazy, horrific ride. So, yeah, there's a lot of levels to this. Rare flavors. I love it.
Yeah. Rare Flavors is one of those books that are quite that define the indie scene. I would say they stand out. They have ideas. You can tell that they are the artist and writer fully working at the top of their game, and it's those people distilled down into what they love and really showing off that this medium is one of the best of all time. Yeah, Rare Flavors, phenomenal. Never have I more wanted to shovel food in my mouth.
Well said. All right, Lucas, what is your final indie pick?
So, Department of Truth is, in my opinion, the best indie book I've ever read. It is insane how deep this book goes. From just a vague horror story to deep, deep political messaging to philosophical thoughts to even just existential terror. This book covers it all. If you're looking for a horror book, for a book that is going to push you on your thoughts and make you question your actions and ideas, this is the book. This book, I dare you to read it and come out the other side unchanged. I genuinely think that no one could read this and not feel something. From the art, from the writing, this book is just a perfect meld. It's abstract experimental paintings mixed with characters that are questioning the reality of their own world. And while the premise might be quite simple, it's a Department of Truth that handles conspiracy theories, it goes so much deeper, like very much conspiracy theories do. Goes down a rabbit hole, and you just keep spiraling till you're not even sure if you can put down the book. Few series have enamored me like this one, and I think few series can even stand up to it. So, but I will point out this is not for the faint of heart. It does deal with a lot of stuff, a lot of heavy, real stuff. It touches on a lot of real political people, real political things, whether it be the horrific stuff of Alex Jones stating that there are false shooters and false flag operations, to even the moon landing being faked. This stuff does push and make you question your political views, but you should be prepared to enter in and think about what your views and how they define you.
Two absolute indie powerhouses. We have James Tinian the fourth on writing and Martin Simmons on the art most of the time. This book demands your attention.
Literally.
Art that just pulls you in and makes you question what the hell is that, in any of their cryptid designs. But yeah, the story does the same. The story is very, like you said, it leads you down a rabbit hole. It leads you down, and it keeps you invested. And it recently returned as well. So another ongoing indie
Yes.
that you can catch up to and then continue to read.
You can feel my misery of having to wait every month. But this series, oh man, they're yeah. I could gush about this all day. It's phenomenal. For me, when I read one issue of these of this book, I usually have to just sit with myself for like 10 minutes to just be like, Okay, what just happened?
This is a book I would recommend to somebody who thinks that comic books are for kids.
Oh yeah,
You know what I
definitely.
mean? Like this is like,
Fuck out of here with those thoughts.
well, you know what I mean though. That like, this is like that book that people who kind of scoff at comic. I mean, I think it's obviously decreased over the years. There's a lot
Oh,
more
thank God,
respect for
yeah.
this field. But
This is
if
like the
somebody,
equivalent of Watchmen, in my opinion.
sure, yeah, right. It's like an indie book that really like popped out at people, and made them aware of like how fucking crazy comics can be when they're just what the creators, wish them to be. But yeah, this is a book that I would, show like an older person who's like, comics are, silly for they're not,
Jimmy
real art.
Olsen.
Yeah, yeah,
I read Jimmy Olsen and his pal Superman back in the day.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
wonder if this will be just like eyeballs melting out of the face,
yeah, yeah.
like
Like this is that kind of
terrifying.
book. This is that kind of book. This is like, let me show you how comics can be real, like fucking art. Like this is just fucking
Hey,
crazy.
if you want to see a double page spread of Obama eating and Hillary Clinton eating children as part of Pizzagate, this is your book.
That's the subtitle.
Crazy, crazy book.
That's the
Anyway,
that's the elevator pitch.
that is the elevator pitch.
And this is getting picked up for something, right? Amazon?
Yeah, from what I understand, sci-fi, which I don't,
Sci-fi. Okay.
yeah, I don't necessarily know if I trust that. I'm hoping it's going to
Hmm.
be good. I'm really hoping, because this series would do amazing. I'm also worried though that like the great thing about comics is that like at least with Image, they don't have to worry about stepping on anyone's toes politically. Because let's be honest here, Donald Trump ain't reading these comics. But if they put it on TV, ooh, it might get some interesting eyes on it. To be honest,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
and I wonder if they would, if they themselves, like the studio, would be afraid and censor the story. That would be my only major concern about it being adapted is the studio being like, yeah, we can't take a risk, which is this whole book is a risk, so you really
Yeah.
can't do that.
Also, for a book with art like Martin Simmons, like you are allowed to have a little bit of an imagination while you're reading it.
Oh yeah,
You don't take everything literally and at face value. So I think a live action format might take away from that a little bit.
yeah.
But
It
we'll see.
the cinematography would have to be insane. Like for me, I would need like a Legion level of like the TV show like Legend of Cinematography, where I'm just like literally like characters are moving and like doing stuff and then like the square almost like what's it called, the A team or whatever, like where like certain people are doing certain things, tasks, but like give me that with like the horror.
That's funny. Yeah.
But yeah, this has been Indie Comics. If you haven't been convinced to read Indie Comics, why the fuck are you watching this video still? If you haven't picked up these books and you haven't read any of them, go out and read them. Go out and pick them up. These books are phenomenal. Every single one of them. They deserve your love and attention. These writers and artists deserve your love and attention. And yeah, just further support them. Let the industry grow, and let's just keep pushing storytelling and creative ideas.
All it takes, comic shop near me into Google, and you can find these books.
Yeah, your local comic shop. And usually people are pretty chill. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to like, subscribe, support your local comic shop, and read comics. Bye bye.